The scenes from Gaza are horrendous, and people want the fighting to end. Some call for a ceasefire. Hamas needs to hear those calls and agree to free the hostages and turn over its rockets, and then we can have that ceasefire. There was a ceasefire on October 6th. Hamas broke it and killed 1,400 Israelis. What would happen if we had a ceasefire leaving the rockets and arms in Hamas's hands? Today, Ghazi Hamid, a high-ranking Hamas official, said exactly what would happen. He said, we will repeat October 7th 1, 2, 3, 4 times, as many times as it takes, until Israel is annihilated. We need a true ceasefire, and we can achieve it only if Hamas is disarmed. I've been a pro-Israel activist for 60 years and a member of the Foreign Affairs Committee for nearly 30. Israel has one friend in the world. Hamas knows that. America is divided and partisan. Hamas knows that. The terrible scenes in Gaza show that Hamas is willing to die for one thing, and that is to put those scenes on American television to undercut support for Israel, to make sure that that support is not bipartisan. Last week, we showed bipartisan support with 97% of the Democrats, 99% of the Republicans voting for a strong resolution. But unfortunately, our Speaker has decided to undercut that, and in doing so, help Hamas achieve its most important geopolitical objective. For 60 years, when an Israel resolution comes to this floor, it passes overwhelmingly with support on both sides of the aisle. Tomorrow, that changes because the Speaker is bringing a nakedly partisan version of the support for Israel bill to this floor. Mr. Speaker, you have only been in office for a week, and already you are achieving Hamas's geopolitical objectives. And why? Supposedly to pay for the cost of aiding Israel, they're going to slash the IRS budget. CBO today just indicated that that will cost us over $26 billion in revenue and will increase the cost of aiding Israel. And I'm here to say, as the chair of the bipartisan, co-chair of the bipartisan CPA caucus, and as someone who has taught tax law at Harvard Law School, and as someone who headed the second largest tax agency in this country, that CBO number is way too low. The long-term effects will be devastating on our ability to collect taxes. So we need a bipartisan bill before this floor, not a bill that supposedly is going to help Israel, but actually is designed to hurt Israel, help Hamas, and then die in the Senate. Now, the numbers coming from Gaza about casualties are something that a CPA should look at. We know that what happened at Al-Ali Hospital was they dramatically overstated the casualties, and then America has said with a high degree of confidence now from our intel community that was a rocket fired by Hamas or Islamic Jihad that failed to reach its target and instead fell on a Palestinian hospital. But even if you accept Hamas statistics, our press goes further and exaggerates their number. First, Hamas will tell you that they include in their statistics dead Palestinian combatants. And so our press reports the number as if that's somehow Israel's fault. The Hamas will tell you that they include in those statistics those who die from the 1/3 of Hamas rockets that crash into Gaza. And yet our press will report that statistic as if that's a number Israel is responsible for. And finally, as to those who die from Israeli ordnance, keep in mind that is because of Hamas's use of human shields. They were in Israel. They could have stood and fought the Israeli Defense Forces, and instead they quickly retreated behind their human shields. So And then finally, there are those who say that we have more deaths in Gaza than in other terrible events happening in the world. This is clearly
Almost
false.
time's expired. Pursuant to Clause 12 Alpha
in Ethiopia. The press didn't report it, but it still matters.
The gentleman's time
I
has
yield
expired.
back.
Pursuant